Welcome to the Robotics Through Science Fiction podcast. I'm Robin Murphy, and as you may know, I write a monthly column for the journal Science Robotics. It's the science fiction, science fact section. So let's take a look at science and science fiction for 2023 and what movies and books showed up in my columns. Here's a list of the columns I wrote in 2023. You can get to them through the sciencerobotics.com website, or you can get through them through the roboticsthroughsciencefiction.com website. Just hit that Science Robotics tab up top. In terms of topics, notice that I had 3 on legal, with 2 of them targeting the EU AI Act. I'm not a fan of the EU AI Act. It's a great motivation, unactionable implementation. 2 of the articles were on medical uses of robots, which is a rapidly evolving subfield of robotics, so that's cool. In terms of movies, I reviewed 2 movies, Megan and Robodoc. I'm very proud of both of those articles for different reasons. Megan's actually a pretty good horror movie and an excellent, though accidentally, primer on robot developer liability and tort law. It was a delight working on the article with my friend Paula DeWitt, who has a PhD in computer science and a JD in law. And so the article is a bit of a listen up, roboticists, you're setting yourselves up to be put in jail sort of piece. I was also proud of Robodoc. Science Robotics, one of the top journals, and National Lampoon's Robodoc. National Lampoon, just not 2 organizations you'd normally put together in the same sentence. But bless editor Amos Manasuko's heart, he went along with my article on the vulgar but surprisingly accurate take on medical robotics in the National Lampoon Presents Robodoc. So, Robin Murphy, the person who got National Lampoon into science robotics, well, it is an accomplishment of sorts. I reviewed 9 books for science robotics this year, not counting Asimov's Oeuvre, which I have nearly memorized at this point in my life. Most of the books were released before 2023. Many of my articles were about whatever that special issue topic was for that month, if there was one. And in those cases, I tried to find the most illuminating science fiction or the earliest science fiction on a topic, and I often reread books that I had already read. Now, the rest were what I had stumbled across and thought had teachable moments. So overall, I read 15 more books than these 9 on robots for the very first time, many of which were terrible and had approximately 0 scientific validity. An exception on both counts was the latest Murderbot Diaries entry, System Collapse. It's terrific, and it will be the subject of this month's Science Robotics column. Now, of these 9 plus Asimov, here's my take on them. The Strange by Nathan Ballingrud and Machine Man by Max Berry were amazing, out of left field, not by the book plots. The Strange was suspenseful, Machine Man was deviously funny. Ballingrud and Berry are major talents in science fiction. Sea of Rust by C. Robert Cargill is like a action movie comfort food where you're settling down with popcorn to thoroughly enjoy a Mad Max movie. 3 Miles Down by Harry Turtledove is like a good, funny, standalone episode of The X-Files. It's an only slightly counterfactual version of the Hughes Glomar Explorer expedition and of the Nixon administration. Piano Player by Kurt Vonnegut was a holy cow, he nailed it back in 1952 with his very first book. Clearly this guy was a talent from day one. Put the Propellerheads history repeating on and read it while thinking about Bill Gates and the Bohemian Grove crowd. Trust me, it'll make sense when you read the book. Africa Risen, the new anthology, was mostly fantasy short stories. There were only 3 robot short stories, but all of the stories were very good. The collection portrayed different cultures from Africa and the Africa diaspora, and only one was annoyingly hectoring, that a lot of science fiction has become. Zed by Joanna Kavina. absolutely rolling on the floor laughing. Terry Gilliam level of brilliance for the first half. Then it wandered off. It's worth reading, but you may put it down before the end. Really gets to that Gordian knot that is machine learning. Pretty good. Andromeda Evolution. Great authorized sequel by Daniel H. Wilson to the Andromeda strain. He has a PhD in robotics. It has a lot of good hard science in it. Like Crichton, it's not so good on characters and subtle plot points. If you haven't read Wilson's Robopocalypse, that's hard science, action, fun, and evocative. Definitely a great book. You'd want to start there. It has nothing to do with Andromeda Evolution or the Andromeda strain, though. Autonomous by Annalee Newitz. It was thorny, provocative, disturbing, sexual, smart. I recommend it, but be warned, it's heavy and serious. It's not a slog, but it's not necessarily a joyride either. And then there's Asimov, of course, but that's a different type of comfort food, like watching a sweet 60s sitcom or something on Nickelodeon. And speaking of which, so you have Asimov, let me put in a shameless plug for my Learn AI and Human Robot Interaction through Asimov's iRobot stories. All right, well, each of these movies and books had some interesting science, even if it was unintentional. So please check out the articles and let me know which of the 2023 columns were your favorites. There's lots more robotics explained through science fiction on the website, so hopefully you'll go over there, check it out, and explore.